Hey guys, my name's Nova, this is Film Express, and today we're going to be trying something a little bit different. I had the absolute pleasure of seeing a new short film at an advanced screening just this past week, and I have to talk to you guys about it. The film I'm talking about is Death and Ramen, written and directed by Tiger G and starring the absolutely incredible, hilarious, and iconic Bobby Lee, who you guys might have heard about from Bad Friends or Tiger Belly or his early days on Mad TV. I've always been a big fan of Bobby Lee. I was very excited to see this short film, extremely grateful that I got to see this a little bit early, so let's get right into it. Let's talk about it. This is my review of Death and Ramen. Okay, it's no original thought here, but most people fear death, and we're all silently dreading that day where the Grim Reaper is going to knock at our door and tell us that our day is finally here. And sure, there's exceptions to this, like that not everyone is afraid of death, but this is mostly a very universal fear. And I think Tiger G's new film taps into this in a very interesting way by attempting to dash in some humor and some really interesting existential ideas on mortality. The idea of the film is, we're all going to have our dance with death one day, but how are you going to step into this dance? Are you going to embrace that death with a warm hug and a warm dance, knowing that you've lived a very full life? Or are you going to have regrets? Are you going to enter death not having really fully appreciated the life and the memories that you've had? And I think that's a really beautiful idea to tackle. And I think, again, like the way that Tiger G incorporates humor and the surrealism in this film to make his ideas stand out is really what makes this film work for me. A title with such juxtaposing ideas such as death and ramen, it's going to make you think of two things. It's going to explore cold, tragic, dark reality of death, and coupling that with something as warm and comforting as a bowl of ramen. Tiger G's new films is in a way attempting to kind of assist us in coming to peace with death by putting a smile on our face, by making you laugh, and I think it really does work in that sense. It's a beautiful, hilarious, and heartfelt allegorical tale. Like, it's a huge metaphor on accepting death. And I'll be honest, Tiger G's previous film Wuhan Driver had a sociological angle and a timeliness to it that made that film feel super important. Death and Ramen doesn't have that, but it is way more personal, it's way more intimate. It's like an exercise in learning to cope with one of the most tragic aspects of living. I'll be fully honest, it's not the first film or even short film that I've seen attempt to tackle these themes, but what makes this stand out is the actual focus with which Tiger G really tackles this in his writing. Also, there's so much personality, heart, and culture on display here that it really makes it stand out from so many other efforts that I've seen in the past few years. In full transparency, a little bit of a trigger warning, the film does tackle a very bleak idea of ending one's life. But Tiger G's subversion injects this really bleak character, this hopeless character who's attempting to end himself, injects a whole spark of joy and appreciation for life by revisiting core memories, core ideas, core flavors, and core relationships that have really been important throughout his life. And I think that's a very important message. Something as simple as the bowl of ramen that your mom made for you as a kid, those flavors can almost be enough to reignite a whole plethora of feelings in a person, and I find that super interesting. Of course, there's so much humor here, there's so much culture, there's so much personality, there's so much heart on display, and it's all very familiar feeling. The ideas of death and the ideas of the passage to the afterlife, they're never really romanticized or glorified. It's more like accepted and understood and contemplated in a very unique way. Sure, it has a bit of silly humor to it, but the overall core message at the foundation of everything is well worth visiting. So I'm a huge fan of Bobby Lee, so that's maybe a bit of my bias here, but I think that it's just awesome to see him working on a project such as this. He really gets to kind of take his acting seriously, and I really have to give credit to Tiger G for this, for giving Bobby a project like this and a unique role like this and a unique character like this for him to explore, where he's not really just playing himself. But I can also see how, if you know anything about Bobby, with the things that have happened in the past couple of years in his life, that this might be a very personal thing that he's tapping into in this performance, and I really like that. Now, it's also really nice always seeing Matt Jones in any type of project. Like, he's the type of person where if I see him, it's just an automatic smile on my face, so that's a little bit of a cheat code, but it worked here. He was really solid, and he was clearly having a blast working alongside Bobby. But the true star here is the directorial and writing effort efforts of Tiger G. He's extremely talented. He's showing a clear confidence in filmmaking abilities and in versatility as well. I think that's the big thing, is that from the two short films that I've seen of his, they're so vastly different in themes, in approach, in message. You would almost think that they're two different filmmakers, and that's a sign of a great director, is that he's able to kind of assimilate to whatever style suits the story best. And I really feel like that's, you know, it's worthy of applause, especially considering the fact that Tiger G at this point, I think he's 22 years old, still very, very young, and showing so much confidence and so much filmmaking ability. You know, I'm just very excited to see what he's going to do next, whether it's another short or a feature. I think he's going to do an awesome job, and I'm definitely a fan. So I really enjoyed seeing Death and Ramen, and sure, it might not have the social scale of Wuhan Driver. It was still a magnificent short, and Tiger G should extremely be proud. Guys, keep a lookout in the next week or two, because I'm actually having a Q&A with Tiger G about Death and Ramen, which I'm super excited about. It's going to be coming out in the next few days, so keep a lookout for that, because I'm super excited to share that. I'm going to ask him some extremely in-depth questions about the production, about his inspirations, about working with Bobby, and about what's next in his career. So it's going to be something new for the channel, but I'm super excited for that. So until then, that was my review of Death and Ramen, guys. Please like, please subscribe, please put some comments down, and hit that notification bell as well. Give me some love, guys. It's my absolute pleasure to talk about movies with you guys. My name's Nova. This is Film Express, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.